So, moving on to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Lamonta Benson, who asked me to do a God of War Doctor Who crossover. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube once you hit the 3rd tier. But other than that, let's get started. So the story begins with... it's set after not Assassin's Creed, almost said Assassin's Creed, God of War Valhalla, where Kratos, after confronting his older self, is just kind of like, sitting in the throne. He's just kind of like, I need some time to think. I need to figure out what my next move is. I gotta figure out all that shit. And while he's doing that, while he's just basically contemplating his place in the universe, for lack of a better word, he feels something like all of Valhalla, like just all of Valhalla just suddenly like rocks, and he's thrown out of the throne, and he's like, what the hell was that? Like, where did that even fucking come from? And God, I am so tired. He is just kind of like freaking. He's like not even freaking out. He's like disturbed because he's like, what could have rocked all of Valhalla to such a degree? Like, what could have done such damage to Valhalla? So he goes out into the world, and he sees like all of the world of Valhalla just kind of like breaking and shifting and twisting, and he's like, what the hell is all of this? And he sees Tyr. He sees Tyr, and he's like, Kratos, get out of here. There's, something has arrived on Valhalla, and it's breaking everything. It's basically, the land of the dead is falling to pieces. And he's like, and Kratos is like, well, we need to get out of here. And he's like, no, you need to leave. The dead can't, you need to get out of here. Get help, get something, find help. So while he's doing that, while Tyr is telling Kratos about like warning him to run, they both look up in the sky because it suddenly just turns black, and there's this face there's this just huge shadowy cloud forming, and it makes a face, and it goes, greetings one and all, Sutekh brings his gift of death to the land of the dead. And like shadows start falling from the ground. They form into like these twisted, like mutated, like almost mummy type monsters. So Kratos and Tyr are like trying to fight their way through them. They get separated, and Kratos, as he's like trying to fight these servants of Sutekh, he hears like this weird groaning sound in the distance. He just hears this weird, strange, unknown sound. It like throws him off, and then he sees it. The door opens up, and it's the doctor. And the doctor throws open the door, and he's like, get in. And he's like, I don't know, like, who are you? Just get in, I'll tell you everything. So Kratos runs in, and the doctor introduces himself. And for wondering, this is the 15th doctor. This is the newest one. So the doctor is like, oh man, we gotta get out of here now. And Kratos is like still like trying to Kratos and oh god, what's the head's name? Mimir. Oh god, I had to look it up real fast. Sorry, I shouldn't have done these videos right after being out all day. I'm very exhausted. So Mimir is like, brother, this place, this box, it's bigger. And the doctor's like, yes, I know, bigger on the inside. We gotta go. And Kratos is like, wait, we have to go back for Tyr. And he's like, we will, but not right now. We need to go. And the doctor, Kratos is like, don't tell me what to do. He tries to grab at the controls. The doctor tries to shove him back. Kratos grabs the doctor, lifts him up, and he's like, don't touch me again. And he's like, look, I don't care how, Mr. Masculine, I don't care what your whole deal is, but you don't know what's out there. I do. I just tried to kill him, and he's still alive. Kratos drops him on the ground. He's like, you will start talking. And I apologize for attacking you. I am learning to be better. He's like, clearly, listen, I'm the doctor. And Mimir's like, Doctor who? He's like, I always love that. Anyway, I'm the doctor, and that is Sutekh. And he's like, and Kratos is like, yeah, we saw. Who is this Sutekh? And he's like, all right, so Sutekh is the god of death. And Sutekh, basically, I killed him. I orchestrated a plan to kill him, or so I thought. What is out there is Sutekh from a different timeline. It turns out when the Sutekh that I fought in my timeline died, this one from an earlier point in time was freed as like a backup plan. But he escaped into another universe to rather than try to fight me again. And he's like, and Kratos is like, that makes no sense. And he's like, you kind of get used to it at some point. You really do get used to it at some point. Anyway, point being is that thing out there is Sutekh the Destroyer, and he's only going to bring death and destruction to your world, and we need to figure out how to stop him. And he's like, I am well accustomed to killing gods. And he's like, well, okay, good. So am I. I'm something of a unintentional mass murderer myself. And Kratos is like, forgive me, but you do not give that aura. And he's like, if I had a different face, you'd believe me. If I wore a different face. And he's like, no, it's not that. You're too cheery. You're too like. And he's like, oh yeah, millennias of pain. He's like, millennia? Are you a god? Kratos is like, are you a god? And he's like, oh no, god. Oh god, no. I am no god. I'm the guy who keeps the gods in check. And you? And he's like, I'm something of the same. Brilliant. Let's figure out what to do. So Kratos and Mimir ask, like, what exactly is this place? Like, where are we? And the doctor explains that, like, you're in the TARDIS, you are in, it's bigger on the inside, it's a time machine, and we're gonna go to try to, and Sutekh, what Sutekh is basically doing is that I chased this time variant of Sutekh to your universe, to your version of Valhalla, and he's planning to use the dead of Valhalla as an army of the dead to create to ransack your universe and move on to the next. And he's like, what is this Sutekh's goal? And he's like, oh, to kill everything. That's all he is. He is the god of death. And he's like, I've killed gods of death before. He'll be no different. He's like, I normally would have a problem with the machismo, sir, but we are fighting Sutekh, the evil incarnate, so I'll allow the machismo. So the doctor and Kratos, along with Mimir, travel through the time stream, and Kratos is like, well, where are we going? Like, where do we go to fight? To face Sutekh? And the doctor explains, is like, well, we have to go to where he escaped, to where I chased him the first time, and that is this little fissure point in time. Sometimes in the cracks of the universe allow other beings to like seep into like little gateway, like little cracks between the universe. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small, but most of the time they are. They are just, they're basically like, they heal on their own, but sometimes little things seep through. So when the Sutekh I was chasing through the time stream saw a little crack in your universe, that's where he got out. And that's where we're going to go to face him. Because no doubt that's where he's probably hiding. So the doctor and Kratos travel to the little fissure point, which is now like the doctor bangs into something and he discovers, oh, Sutekh has been a busy little beaver. He has been forging a like huge black pyramid in the middle of the time stream, and in it he's like taking souls from the God of War, all across the God of War universe, and both mortal and immortal, and forging like an unholy army of the divine. He calls it the divine dead. And trust me, there are some familiar faces: Zeus, Odin, Thor, all of them. It is going to be like a Blackest Night situation. And Kratos sees all of them, and he's like, if I can give you time, can you kill Sutekh? And Kratos, and they're like, what? Brother, even Mimir's like, no, brother, it's suicide. He's like, I've killed these gods before. I'll kill them again. And he, like, tosses the Doctor the Leviathan axe. The Doctor's like, I don't need a weapon. He's like, you're a killer of gods. Use it. And that's when Kratos just jumps out of the TARDIS with with both his old swords, and he's just letting out this huge war cry at the the hundreds of the scores of gods he has killed, all looking up at him and like, Kratos! Zeus and Odin are leading the undead gods. Kratos just jumps in and he's like, I'm going to take great pleasure in killing you both again. So as Kratos is like distracting all the undead gods, the Doctor and he even gives him Mimir. So the Doctor and Mimir go into the Black Pyramid to encounter Sutekh, and this is classic Sutekh. It is a Sutekh. It isn't like big black dog, like black winged dog kind of Sutekh. It is like classic, like with the Pyramids of Mars Sutekh, and he's like, "Oh, you went back to your old look. I like it. Better than the dog look." And he's like, "Yes, my future variant became a little feral, didn't he? But Sutekh is still all-powerful, Doctor. You barely beat me the last time." And he just blasts him with the eye beams, and he's like, "I have longed to see you suffer. I have wished to see you in agony. Tell me, Doctor, how does it feel to die again?" And the Doctor's just like, "Can't tell you. Talk to the head." And he just throws Mimir, hits him in the face with it. And as Mimir distracted Sutekh, the Doctor just takes the Leviathan axe. And he's like, normally I would, I abhor violence, but this time I'm making an exception for you. It just decapitates, uses the Leviathan axe and decapitates Sutekh. So Sutekh dies. The Doctor starts fixing the fissure, but as he is since Sutekh is dead, all the undead gods, die away again. And Kratos is put back in his place. And as the Doctor's like fixing the fissure, he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Will I ever see you again, Doctor?" He's like, "Probably not, but it was good meeting you." And he's like, "Yes, it is good to meet someone. I called you a jester and I called you all of this and that, but deep down I can see that you are every bit as a warrior who's haunted by his past as I am. I'm proud to call you my brother in arms." And he's like, "Oh, well, thank you." So they have a manly handshake. The Doctor goes back through his end of the time stream, and Kratos and Mimir asks Kratos, like, "So what now, brother?" "Now, I think I'm going to rest and continue thinking." So he just sits back in Valhalla, just sitting on that throne and thinking once more. So there you go, guys. That is Doctor Who: God of War. Once again, I'd like to thank Lamonta Benson for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. You guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.